people's lives. Guess what? I don't even have 10,000 followers on Instagram, but I built a really successful business, which means I really do invite. What I'm gonna show you guys today is how I invite, okay? So before you wanna write off the reason why you don't think you could be successful in this business, you can when you care about people and when you have some fun in the process. So let's dive in. First of all, I'm gonna just disclaimer, I'm in a 10-year relationship and I've never been on a dating app, so if I incorrectly talk about right or left swipes, don't get mad. Think about this like Bumble BFF. As Amy Rada's fiance said in the elevator, he was like, it's Bumble BFF you're talking about. So the first step that you do when you go on a dating app is you're gonna fill out your profile. So think about this like building your brand. Remember, what's cool about this business is what you post about is what you attract. So whatever you are passionate about, we want to be sharing that, just like if you were filling out your profile. So what is your fitness story and what is your business story? And what are 5 topic areas that you're really passionate about? I want to just touch on this really quickly because remember, what you're posting about is what you're going to bring into your business. So it's so important that we're talking about why we started Beachbody from a fitness standpoint, why we started Beachbody from a business standpoint, because that's gonna build connective tissue. That's part of our brand, why we started. And while that's going to evolve over time, the longer that you're here, it's important to go back to that initial connection tissue when you're building out your brand. In addition, when you're using language that creates curiosity, people are intrigued by that, right? So we don't want to raise resistance. We don't want to bash other things. We want to create curiosity. We kind of want to flirt with people on social media for sake of building your brand, right? But at the same time, after you've built out your brand, that's just step 1. Now is why people go on dating apps, to find your match. Why you build your brand is to find your people that you can connect with, that you can invite into your groups, that you can invite to be coaches on your team. So this is an activity that I do with my team all the time, and it has been extremely impactful for me. Because when I first started building my business, I thought, I have to talk to all the people. Have you guys ever felt that way where it's like, but if I don't talk to everyone, then no one's gonna wanna join my group? Yeah? Okay. So I niche in who I'm most excited to connect with. So an activity to do that you can do for yourself and with your team. Sit down with a journal and write out who is that person that you would be most excited to connect with. What are their fears? Why would they be nervous to start on a health and fitness journey? Why would they be nervous to start in their business? What are they interested in? Why would they want to build a business? Why would they be interested in a side income or building out a large team? We've got to think about that person, and it makes it a little bit easier when we're picking our different topic areas if we're really pumped about the person that we're excited to talk to. And it also makes it easier when you're thinking about talking to your phone on Instagram stories, which I talked about earlier, so people can get to know you, when you're just envisioning that person on the other side of your phone, right? You're just thinking about that person that you're most excited to connect with, and she's gonna feel that connection with you, or him is gonna feel that connection with you. On that same regard, we have to know what would hold that person back. Raise your hand if you signed up as a coach the very first time that you saw a post or were invited. Sorry, I can't really sit here, but I think there's like 4 people. Okay, no one signs up the first time. It's so rare that someone signs up the very first time that they are asked to be part of this business or to join a boot camp. So, what would hold that person back? Let's publicly talk about the objections that we're getting in our DMs. Let's talk about what held you back. Because sometimes we start building this business and we get really excited, especially if your personality is like mine, you get really pumped. And you think about all of the reasons why you love this and these workouts and how could anyone not want a Netflix style for streaming your workouts? Like, this is crazy, you go to the gym, right? But we have to remember, we were held back. We did not likely start the very first time that we were asked. So why should we expect that someone else would, right? But you get to determine your ideal match, so you get to talk to the person that had the same concerns as you. Like, that is so powerful because you can really genuinely say, I get you, I've been there, I understand, let's do this together. Let's be a come with me girl rather than a look at me girl, right? we've got to know what they're interested in, because that's what we're going to be talking about when we're connecting with them. So, the other part on that, when you're finding your potential matches, you're networking, you're flirting, right? I told you guys, I don't know anything about apps, but I really like this analogy, so stick with me on this. Common interests create connection. That's what's cool about Beachbody is everybody needs health. Health is not a luxury, it's a necessity, right, to be here in this room. We can all agree about that. How someone goes about getting there, that's their choice. But someone that also likes The Bachelor, or is obsessed with Target, or talks to their dog in a baby voice, they need fitness too. So common interests are gonna create connection when you're networking with people. And like I said, we want to focus on being interested in them, rather than just having them be interested in us. Now, when you're connecting with people, remember, when they follow you back, they're interested in what you're doing. So let me just talk on this for a second. I picture this as if you're following someone, for example, you find a brand that you like on social media, and you're building up your Instagram account, and you're following the followers of that account. It's a brand that, or a wedding venue if you're getting married, and you're connecting with those women. Those women then follow you back. They have done what any normal person would do, and they've gone to your Instagram stories, they've looked to see if you're posting, they've looked at your feed, they've creeped really hard, and then they've decided if they want to follow you back. If they follow you back, they are interested. And here's where I want to talk one thing about inviting. If you are here to change people's lives, which I know you are, we have to pay this forward, which means this is when we know that when someone follows us back, they are interested. We need to take it to the next level, okay? So now, we're gonna ask them out. It's just so funny because I haven't done this in so long. Okay, you're gonna ask them out now, and we're gonna talk about this like the initial invite. When you think about it, if someone was asking you out on a date, and they just like word vomited where they see you going, like, oh, and then we're gonna have 2 kids, and a white picket fence, and our dog is gonna be named Charlie, and we're gonna have 1 daughter, and then she's gonna be 2 years older than our little son. Like, can you imagine if you weren't even going on a date with that person and they just word vomited all of that information on you? You'd be like, I'm not going on a date with you. You are a creeper, right? So let's remember that when we're inviting, we don't want to give them too much information. That's like we're proposing marriage when we're asking them out. Keep it simple. An example of an invite that I would do, now I actually do use the voice message feature. How many of you guys are using the voice message feature? Life-changing, time-saving, love it. But for example, of this context, I would say, hey girl, I don't know why I didn't ask you about this before when we were connected. I run these online virtual boot camps. You seem like someone I would be friends with. I feel like you would vibe with this community. We stream our workouts anywhere. Does that sound like something that would be up your alley? I go very broad, but I invite quickly because I want to change people's lives. And I don't just want to talk about surface layer things like the breed of their dog or the weather, right? So I invite them as quickly as possible so that I can go deeper because I really want to get to know them. I really want to hear their story. I really want to build that authentic connection with them. So keep it really simple and go big picture. And from there, the actual inviting process. So you slide into someone's DMs on Instagram. This is like the first date, right? You're on the first date, you're actually asking them if you can like hang out with them in real life. You need to get to know them by asking specific questions. So this is the main 3 responses that I get when I send an invite. You tell me if you guys agree. Number 1 is, how much does it cost? Yeah? And you're like, what? What? Of course it's gonna cost something. Or they say, is it free? What? What do you mean? Or they say, yeah, tell me more about it. Or they completely ghost me. Raise your hand if those are the main 3 things that you get. Okay, so everyone in the room. Here's the thing, for 2 of those, I answer the same response no matter what. I wanna know what their problem is, and I wanna know how I can provide a solution so that I can determine if it makes sense for us to go out, for sake of this analogy, for us to do a boot camp together, or for her to become a coach on my team. So I asked them, can you tell me a little bit more about your current health and fitness goals? What's working for you and what's not working as well as you would like? I'm gonna repeat that because I ask it to every single person. Tell me a little bit more about your current health and fitness goals, and that's where most people stop. This is where I take it to the next level. Ready? What's working for you, and what's not working as well as you would like. Because our brains are like computers, so we have to answer that question. And I think about this as if I was on a first date and someone says, Kacia, tell me about yourself. I'd be like, where do I even start? I don't have time for this right now, right? But if the question is specific, what's working for you and what's not working as well as you would like, then they have to answer that question. And then for the people that are scared to invite or are scared of being perceived as quote unquote salesy, here's your ticket. You get to be a solution provider and change someone's life by telling them what you have to offer, all of these tools in your toolbox that could serve them to impact their lives, right? That question is gold. And remember, when you are actually inviting them, we want to avoid things that are turnoffs. We don't want to talk too much about ourselves. Imagine physically sitting across someone on their first date, and you're just like, well, I started Beachbody back in this day, and then I quit my job, and then I did this, and now I hang out with my dog, and like most times I don't look like this, but I'm covered in dog hair, and I work in my sweatpants, right? No one cares. We don't want to go on a first date like that. We don't want to talk too much about ourselves. And here's the thing, because there are very few of us in this room that could raise our hand, myself included, that we joined when we were first asked. So, wouldn't it be a really slippery slope if we started bashing another way of fitness, another diet plan, another way of doing life? If we bash someone on that initial invite process to the first date, we don't want to bash other network marketing companies, right? Because those people often do come around. We want to build connective tissue with them. But also, back to the original point, we don't want to be vague. We want to get to the point and make our intentions clear. What I love about Instagram is I really do think of it like a dating app, and that people want to get to the point. You're on that app for a reason, to connect with people. When that person follows you back, they are interested in what you're doing. And when you're showing up and being authentic and sharing different parts about your story and other parts about your life, that is the connective tissue that you are building with one person who, if you change their life, you change everyone around them's life. We know this. So we have to make sure that we're inviting. We have to be really clear about our intentions. And remember, that official relationship begins when they join your team. So I wanted to share this little screenshot there, which is when I asked this particular person during an invite, I said, tell me a little bit more about your fitness goals, what's working for you, and what's not working as well as you would like. Then, because I asked that question, she was able to tell me about her story. She randomly goes to the gym, she doesn't really have a plan, she feels like she doesn't know what to do when she's there, work is crazy. She really wants to do something like this, right? She's literally giving me a layup. But if I didn't ask that question, I would probably just have described the group like I would normally describe a group to someone. But instead, I was like, oh, girl, I feel you. This is gonna be totally up your alley. We're doing this workout that's 20 minutes long, plus you get accountability, blah, blah, blah. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? What I'm doing is I'm gonna validate her feelings. I'm not just gonna say, you can do this, girl. I'm gonna either connect based off of my story, or I'm gonna go into my toolbox that we're all building with other people's stories. If she was a mom, and I'm not a human mom, I have a dog, I would say, I hear you, girl. While I can't say that I know what it's like to be a mom, I can tell you, I've helped a ton of moms on their postpartum journey, and I'm so excited to have you in a group where you can connect with them and you guys can all get to know each other better too. I'm gonna validate her. I'm not gonna say, oh, I get it, girl, you can do it. She's like, no, you don't get it, right? Validate their concerns. And reiterate your excitement that you have the solution. You know this when you know their pain points. So if you're worried about inviting, guess what? You get to solve problems. You're a problem solver. You're a solution provider. You're not a salesperson, if that word doesn't sit well with you, right? And the other thing that I do, that is one of my favorite things about this business, that we get the opportunity to do this, is we get to paint the picture. We get to paint the picture of what it's gonna look like for them based off of their problem and the solution you provided that it's gonna feel like at the end. So for example, how's it gonna feel for this girl who now no longer has to go in downtown Seattle when it's raining, nobody knows how to drive when it's raining in Seattle, which is very weird, I grew up there, that She doesn't have to go to the gym anymore and sit in traffic after work and then go wander around the gym not knowing what to do and waste 2 hours every night and then throw in the towel because she wasn't consistent. Now she feels like she can't do it. Downward spiral, we know the story, right? Instead, I'm like, girl, I'm so excited that in your living room, in 20 minutes without equipment, you're literally gonna get your butt handed to you by Shanti. You're gonna check in with all these other girls who are just as busy as you and totally get the struggle, and you're gonna get to build those connections, and we're gonna show up together every single day. I can't wait until I get the text message from you that's like, Kacia, thank you so much for inviting me. I changed my whole world with this. You're gonna feel so excited. I cannot freaking wait. Sound like that would be up your alley? Yes, please, sign me up. Like, put an Energize on my share card, right? Point is, reiterate your solution and your excitement while you're painting the picture. And the last thing, some fun dating tips from the girl that's never been on a dating app. Remember, timing is everything. Just because you're ready to go 1-star, 2-star, 5-star, 15-star, just because you need to hit Success Club because it's the last day of the month and it's 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and you're literally sweating buckets, right? That does not mean that they are ready. Just like almost every single one of us in this room was not ready the first time that we were invited. Sometimes we forget about this when we get really excited about our business and we forget that it's really not about us. It's about that other person. And when they're ready, they just need to know that you're gonna be here, right? And we know you could go on 100+ dates a week. I mean, that would be really intense, but you could do it, I'm sure. But it's gonna be really hard for you to deeply connect with someone if you're excited about the person that you're connecting with. Guess what? They're gonna feel that from you. You're gonna get to go in depth, get to hear their story, get to connect with them in a really authentic way, and you're gonna change their lives. When you change their lives, you're changing everyone around them, right? And the last thing, remember, as with this business, some relationships last a long time, and some people will be here for the end of time. You couldn't, like, there's no leaving Beachbody, right? But some relationships are short. Maybe someone comes in and decides that this is not their thing. That doesn't mean that you stop doing your thing. That doesn't mean you say, I'm not capable. That doesn't mean that you let self-confirming bias click into your head and say, oh, I can't do this. Let me look for all the reasons why I think I can't do this. Not you, right? So, remember, at the end of the day, I wanted to do this dating analogy because I really think that you can have a lot of freaking fun in this business. I've been doing this for 5 years. Like I said to you guys, it has changed my entire world. But it's because I have so deeply focused on falling in love with the process of building this business, not what the process will produce. And guess what? When you fall in love with the business, and you have done, and you change lives, and you fill your cup to the point of overflow, guess what? It's gonna grow your business like crazy. You guys can do this. And remember, people rarely succeed unless they're having fun in what they're doing. That doesn't mean this work doesn't matter. This work really freaking matters. You matter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of Team Beachbody. Thank you for spreading this message that means so much to me. So grateful for you guys. Thank you.